Once you've sewn all the way around the perimeter of your apron, your next step is to sew on the straps for your apron. Now, we are going to start with the strap on the sides. It's important that you position the strap here where it comes to a point. Right? So there are different ways that you can position the straps. First, you can make the strap, if you have ribbon, you can make the strap so that it goes all the way across, similar to this apron. Or, like this apron, you can choose to just sew the straps on the edge so that you don't have a line of ribbon all the way across. You can just have the line on the edge. Right, this one also has them across, but instead of using ribbon, they used straps made out of fabric. And this one has it across as well. So first, you have to cut your straps. If you're cutting it out of ribbon and you want it to go all the way across similar to this, you need to line this up and pin it down very well so that it doesn't move. You can see this one lined up really well with this side, but on this side it doesn't quite meet this corner. It's a little bit low. So if they would have pinned it up here a little bit better, then it would have come to the top of the corner. Right, then you got to decide how you want to sew it on. Now I'm going to zoom in and hopefully you can see it. You can see that this one, hopefully, this one sewed all the way around here, and then they also sewed a square all the way around so that it sewed on the top and the bottom. Now if you just want to sew it on the sides, then you're going to sew it on with a box stitch, right? And you just sew a little square, right? So that it sews on really well. The size of the square can be different. Some people choose to put an X in the middle of their square. They only put like a half an X. Here, they put an X up here, a full X. Right? Here's a perfect box stitch on this one. Right? Now, this one chose to do it a little bit differently. They chose to put one single line in the middle. And the problem with that is now you can see this can come down, and as you wash it, sometimes this will fold over and it won't look as nice. So it's good to sew it at the top and at the bottom unless you have a very thin ribbon. Okay? This person put two parallel lines of stitching, but they didn't sew down here. So how you choose to sew it on really is a testament to the style that you like, right? And once you get it sewed on, different people sometimes might add some decorative stitching in the middle. Okay? Now, this is an example of how not to sew it on. And nobody sewed theirs like this. I asked them to do this, right? It should not just be in a single line like this. Do you see how it's just in a single line? That won't work. Now, before you sew it on, it's important to finish your ribbon. If you don't finish your ribbon, then it will unravel. See how this ribbon is unraveling? See? So what you have to do is you have to fold it over and then fold it over again and sew it down, just like that. Okay? Just like you did on your apron on the side. So, here's an example of how, again, this person did it and they didn't trim, but you can see that they did theirs in a square. I think that way is my favorite. It looks nice. They did it in a nice pretty square. This person did not finish their ribbon. And do you see, here, let's put it on the white. Can you see it's already starting to unravel here and little bits are coming off of it? Eventually this ribbon will ruin and the ribbon will need replaced. Okay? If you have straps here, they didn't finish it, but they will need to fold it over. Fold it over once. fold it over again, and then sew a box on it. Just like that. See how they did it? Now they started to sew and they just sewed a few stitches. They should try to make 2 parallel lines. Let's see if they did this side. Right? But don't finish it like this. Okay? This is the wrong way to do it. Because here it's still going to unravel. Can you see how it's all unraveling already? Right? Fold it over once, fold it over again, and then iron it. You can either iron, or you can either sew it in a straight line or sew it in a box. Right? Now, it's important that whenever you put your ribbon here, you make sure that your ribbon is long enough to actually fit around your body, and that it's the same length on both sides, because you don't want ribbon that is not long enough to go around your body, or anyone's body for that matter. If you're giving it to someone, don't give them the apron that will make them feel like they're way too big. Right? Next, you'll need to do the neck. And when you do the neck, you can choose to either do 2 lines that people can tie at the top, or you can choose to make a loop. And it really truly is completely up to you how you want to do it. But you sew it on the same way. A couple things that you need to make sure that you remember. Make sure that your ribbon is not twisted. For example, this ribbon is straight. If there was a twist in it, then once you sew it on, the only way to fix the twist is to take it off and unsew it. Right? Right, and then you sew it on with that same box stitch. Typically the same stitch that you would use here, you would use here. Okay? And then you'll have your basic apron. At this point, you'll be ready to add pockets or other things that you might want to add.